This is the Coco and Coco Show. Everybody, it's the Coco and Coco Show. Learn some cool stuff with Coco and Coco. Yeah, it's the Coco and Coco Show. Ladies, have you heard about the great news?
I'm Coco.
And I'm Coco.
And you are in our kitchen. Today, we're going to be making sweet potato pie!
The best sweet potato pie you will ever have in your entire life.
Coco makes the best sweet potato pie ever! And she's going to share this awesome recipe with you. It's a lot to put your love into the world like this.
But I love you all so much that I'm willing to share. So, let's get started.
Alright, so the first thing you want to do is preheat the oven. You're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
So now you're going to take your 3 sweet potatoes and plop them right into this boiling water. You're not going to take the skin off, you're just going to leave the skin right on there. And then you're going to let those boil for about an hour. When you touch them and they're super soft and mushy, then you know they're done.
Then you start on the pie crust. You do the pie crust first because you have to put it into the fridge for 30 minutes. First, mix flour and salt together. So you need 1 1/3 cups of flour. You're going to put that into a bowl. 1 1/3. And you're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of plain coarse salt. I'm going to put that right in. And then you're going to mix that all together. After that, you're going to cut in the shortening. I use Crisco shortening. It's all vegetable shortening. Some people use butter in their pie crust, so you could take this measurement and use 1/2 cup of butter instead of the Crisco. But I feel like the Crisco holds together the crust better. So we have 1/2 cup of that measured up. And I'm going to drop that right in there. And now you're going to need this tool. This is a dough blender, and it cuts the shortening right in.
It's also an 18th century torture device.
You're just doing an up and down motion and then shaking the thing to get the shortening off. As you're doing that, you're going to see the flour start to take to the Crisco.
Recipe book. It's pretty awesome. It says right here, use pastry cutter.
Pastry cutter, that's what it's called. Then your dough is going to look like this. It gets like all stuck together. From this point on, you're going to use a fork and you're going to add ice water. You want to add in a tablespoon at a time until you feel like it starts to stick together. Using a tablespoon, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of ice water and then mix it in with a fork. Take another tablespoon, do the same thing. Now this recipe is only for 1 pie crust, so if you're making a pie that has crust on top or you need extra crust, you're going to need to double it. You can see it starts to look really stick together. Go in with your hands. Make it into a bowl. Then you're going to stick it inside some wax paper and put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. While you're waiting for your pie crust in the fridge for 30 minutes, you can prepare your pie plate.
I'm going to show you how to do that with some salted butter. I'm just taking the top of this butter. It's already softened, and then I'm going to take it and kind of draw on the pie plate with it. I'm going to dump some flour in my hand. Farina Bianca.
Farina Bianca.
And do this.
Roll the flour.
Roll the flour around the pie plate. It should look something like that when you're all done. Yellow, white, masterpiece. Next step we're going to do is we're going to make the sweet potato mix. It's going to go inside of the pot. We're going to need a pound of sweet potatoes, a stick of softened butter. We're also going to need a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of cinnamon, as well as 1/2 cup of milk, 2 eggs, and a cup of sugar.
Zucchero.
Zucchero. It needs to be granulated. See, we're gonna start with the sweet potatoes and add them into this bowl. If you leave them in for an hour, they should be good and done. So I'm just gonna take them out of the pot. I'm rinsing them off in cold water because they're hot. You're gonna take your
steamy hot sweet potatoes.
and you're gonna peel them. Let me get up close so you guys can see. When you're peeling the sweet potato, underneath there is a layer, and it is the outer layer of the sweet potato that can sometimes get stringy. So when you're peeling it, you're gonna wanna try and get rid of that layer as well. See what I'm talking about? See how I got that layer on that, but I didn't get it on this? You wanna do that all the way around. So hot! And then you can just pop the end off like that. And do the same on the other end. And the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take a knife and slice it into the bowl. And this should help with the stringiness as well.
Pop the top off. Oh, I did this one good. Look at
Ooh.
that sweet potato. It's like really limp.
Now that you've got your sweet potato all in there, you're gonna wanna add your stick of softened butter. Stick it in there. And you're going to mix this on.
This is a Sunbeam model, 1952.
KitchenAid only has 5 things on it. This has 12. That's so awesome. I think we should put it at 6. When you start this, you want to start it off slow. Like, don't put it all the way up at once because it'll all splatter all over. Start it off at 1. And then slowly turn the dial up. Now that we have our butter and our sweet potato all mixed up nicely, so it should look a lot like that, we are going to add the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to take our teaspoon of vanilla, our half a teaspoon of nutmeg, our half a teaspoon of cinnamon, our cup of sugar, and we're going to add our half cup of milk,
2 eggs. Careful when you crack them. Don't want any shells in the mix.
One-handed, that's impressive. I'm a two-handed kind of gal. Now we're going to mix it. Start off slow again.
Mix faster. Mix master.
It's about... Okay, that looks like it's about done. Should look something like that.
Next thing is to roll out the dough. Gotta roll out the dough. Put your pie filling over here.
She's a baller.
You're gonna need your dough ball from the fridge that you took out of the fridge after 30 minutes. Let it sit and get back to room temperature. You're gonna spread out flour all over your workspace because you don't want the dough sticking to the table. Pat it out.
Go ahead, get your flour on, girl. Go ahead, get your flour on, girl. Go ahead, get your flour on, girl.
You roll the dough ball around your hand so it gets a little bit of flour on it. Then put it in the middle of your flour. And every time you roll out dough, you want to start from the middle and push outwards. From the middle, outwards. From the middle, outwards. So it starts to form a circle. You could also put a little bit of flour on your rolling pin so that it doesn't stick. Look, I got a mustache. You want to make the pie crust, you know, like some people do thick, some people do thin, but I like it to be like 1/8 of an inch. You can roll it up and just roll it back out. And you're going to have extra hanging over the edges. And it's okay if you don't have extra hanging over the edges. All I'm doing is I'm just using my finger and pressing down along the glass edge of the pie pan. Finish crust. We're making leaves to put on top of the pie. For the designs, you're just going to roll out the dough the same way you did before. Once you have your extra dough rolled out, you take your stamp, press it down into the dough, pick it up, and now peel it off. and you have a really beautiful leaf. And you repeat that process until you have enough leaves to go around the edge of the whole pie.
If you don't have a fancy leaf cookie cutter, you can just take a knife, make a leaf shape, score it down the middle, and make small cuts in a diagonal shape. And then you have a leaf.
The next step we're going to do is pour the batter into prepared crust.
So you're going to take the batter that you've already made and you're going to pour it right into the center. It's totally not safe to lift the bowl, but I do it anyway. It's got raw eggs in it.
Oh, I love eating the ingredients. Some people eat raw eggs.
That's the ingredients. And then you want to shake it out a little. When you're baking this pie, keep in mind that it's going to rise like a souffle a little bit, but then it'll go back down as it cools. So don't get nervous. Don't be like, oh my god, my pie is overflowing. It's a monster pie. It's not a monster pie. It'll go right back down as soon as it comes out of the oven.
Now is the time when you will put your leaves around your crust.
Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a brush and dip it in some egg white and brush the crust with it. This is going to give you a nice golden color crust.
Now we're going to place this in the oven. And you want to place it on the middle rack, because the middle rack is going to be the best place for the heat to totally surround the pie.
55 minutes is such a long time to wait. Thanks to my speed reading course.
55 minutes is a long time to wait for the pie, so I decided to write a letter to my sister. Dear Jessica, because I am making a pie, I have time to write to you.
Oh, I better go get that pie out. Oh. Ah. Our pie's been in the oven for about 55 minutes. We're gonna take a look, peek in, see what it's looking like. The way that you can tell that it's done is that the top is going to be like a golden orangey brown color, and the crust is also going to be like a golden brown. You can also touch it with your finger. If it feels jiggly, then it's not done. But if it feels nice and firm like it does right now, then I'm sure it is done. Wow, look at that. It's gorgeous. These are teeny tiny baby sweet potato pies. When you roll out your dough, you just use a cup. You cut a circle out of the dough, and then you stick it in your cupcake pan, and then you press the sides out like that, and then you pour your sweet potato mix inside of it. Then you can give them out as gifts, and they're cute and portable and delicious.
Now we're gonna cut this. Sweet potato pie is good for Thanksgiving, it's good for Halloween, it's good to just eat whenever you're hungry. Now we're gonna eat this shit. Thank you everybody for watching the Coco and Coco show.
Thank you so much. And if you love us, if you really love us, if you really, really love us, subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe to our channel, and then you'll always know when we have new videos. And you'll learn how to cook all kinds of cool stuff.
And you'll learn how to do all kinds of amazing things.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Bye, world. Do we do it all?
Yeah, I'm done.
I had to get off my feet. It's been a long day in the kitchen. Dude, I want to stick my face in.
Let's stick our face in. You're covered head to toe in flour.
Yeah. Get your flour on, girl.
Go ahead, get your flour on, girl.
Go ahead, get your flour on, girl. Go ahead, get your flour on, girl.
Go ahead, get your flour on, girl.
Go ahead, get your flour on, girl. Go ahead, get your flour on, girl.
You don't even get your